Hello, everyone. Hello. I hope and I pray all is well. If you celebrate the holidays, happy holiday. Come on in. Let me know how you're doing. I haven't seen you all in a while. Come on in. Come on in. I'm excited because I got several things going on. I'm excited because I created a journal, a 2026 journal composition book to help you kind of like write down your goals, your plans. I know what, and then too, I know what you want to do, but you have to submit your goals and plans to God to make sure that is what He wants you to do. Because we can do all the planning we want to, but if it's not His plans, we're not going to. It's not going to happen. But it's still good to have some goals, right? It's still good to have goals. It's not an excuse not to make goals and trying to find a way not to, create goals and set your goals. But I created a journal. It will be for sale pretty soon. I'm going to put the link on my page. I designed it. It's just a plain journal, blank pages. I designed the cover. I wanted something very bright and colorful like myself. Look, very bright and colorful like myself, okay? Very enthusiastic, exciting. But listen, what I really want to talk about is don't prematurely come out of your isolation season. Do not prematurely come out of your isolation season, right? And isolation season is just that time where you're removed from everyone, right? God removed you from everyone, except your children, except certain people in your life, but He removed you, right? And He's doing the work in you. So don't prematurely abort that season. Don't prematurely come out of that season, because you're not going to. I need to put my lipstick back on. Put me on some more lipstick. You're going to prematurely not get the lesson, right? You're not going to get the lesson that you need to get, right? So that's what I want to talk to you about. Don't come out of your isolation season too soon. Don't abort that prematurely. I know sometimes it gets lonely. You want to do things. You want to go places. You want to see. The thing is, people don't understand sacrifice, right? You have people that will get jealous and envious of people who have sacrificed to get to where they are and to have the things that they have. Most people are not willing to delay gratification. They're not willing to deny themselves. They're not willing to do anything that is going to cause them to be delayed in anything, right? So let me turn my heat on. I don't know why I be having my heat on so much. People will get jealous and envious of those who sacrifice, of those who put in the work, of those who are willing to deny themselves, those who are willing to study, who are willing to fast, who are willing to just do those things. Have you ever noticed no one has anything to say when you're doing the wrong thing? Look, when you're doing the wrong thing, people don't have anything to say. But as soon as you're trying to do the right thing, and you know when you're trying to do the right thing, because the right thing is hard to do. It is hard to do, hard to sacrifice, hard to say no, hard to deny yourself. It is very hard to do when you're trying to do what's right. When you're on the wrong path, it's easy. It's easy to do. There's no discipline. There is nothing that you have to do to deny yourself. And most people can't deny themselves. Everybody wants, not everyone, people want to satisfy their flesh and their desires. They don't want to sacrifice, okay, I can't eat sweets right now, or I can't eat food right now, I'm fasting, or I can't listen and watch certain things right now because you're in consecration, or you're just trying to get, you're trying to get in a place where you're just trying to hear from God, right? Excuse me, y'all, hold on. Excuse me, I'm nasally and I didn't want to, be snorting all over, all on the video, But people are not willing to do that. And as soon as you say you're going to do something, or you want to do something, say you want to lose weight, you'll have people, oh, you shouldn't lose too much weight. But your blood pressure is sky high, right? Your blood pressure is out of the roof. Soon as you say, oh, I'm gonna stop eating this or I'll stop eating that, you have people to say, you know where I'm going with this, right? You see what I'm saying? As soon as you say, and that's why it's good not to say. It's good just to do. I've learned that over the past couple of years, I just do. I don't tell people anything. I just do what I need to do, and you will see the results. Right? You will see the results. Because the minute you say and you do something you want to do, you're not asking people permission. You're just saying, I'm going to do this or that or the other. As soon as you do something you want to do, there are people going to talk you out of that. You want to fix your hair a certain way. Well, I don't like that hairstyle on you. I'm just telling you that's what I'm doing. I'm not asking for your permission to tell me whether or not you like it, because I like it. I don't need for you to like it. I'm just telling you. You know how you just tell people things in passing? Like, people always want to talk you out of something that you want to do. I don't talk people out of things that they want to do. Especially, the only way I stop them, if it's going to be a consequence that they're going to regret. I'll tell them the truth. You shouldn't go down that path, because that path is going to have that consequence is going to pay you, The truth, I will say something about that, because I'm just the person that will tell the truth. But just small things, people always have something to say. Unless it's just something just over the top and that just don't look nice, I'm going to just let people be, right? But people always have something to say when you're trying to do what's right. They don't have anything to say when you're out there doing what's wrong. You're doing all type of craziness. No one never says anything, ever. But as soon as you try to do what's right, you got everybody's opinions you don't even ask for when you're trying to do what's right. But when you were doing what's wrong, you didn't get no opinions. You didn't get anyone saying, you know what, you shouldn't do that. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. Or that's not a good look. You don't get people telling you that when you're doing wrong. It's only when you're trying to do right. When you're trying to do right, you have everybody telling you what you should do. But I'm like, where were you when I was out there, right? Where were you when I was out there doing XYZ and you never said anything? Now I'm focused and I'm trying to do what's right. Why don't people living in my house? That's my house. I'm going to get that house. Look, I'm past somebody's house that that I know is my house, okay? And I'm gonna get it, okay? Now I ain't gonna do nothing crazy, right? But you know how you just know something is yours? That's my house. Just like the last one, we just knew that was our house. Me and my son kind of knew it. Just because somebody occupies something, that don't mean it's not for you, okay? I just wanted to put that in there. But anyway, let me tell you, you will have people doing all kind of crazy things and no one will never say anything to you. They will never say anything to you. As soon as you want to do what's right, and I know I repeated that already, but as soon as you try to live right, you try to eat right, you try to talk right, you try to speak right, you try to treat people right, you try to treat yourself right, you get all kind of pushback. You get all kind of crazy pushback, and I never understood that. That's why I'm so glad I was delivered, and God delivered me from people pleasing and not really caring about what people say. Because like I said in one of my other videos, there's no such thing as failure. You don't fail. It's either you learn, it's either you win or you learn. And I've learned that. You have to live life in order to make mistakes, or what they call mistakes, in order to learn how to do things differently. If you have children, allow them to make mistakes early on. Don't shelter them so much until they become adults and then they making all these crazy mistakes. No, let them make mistakes early. Teach them things early. Let them learn early. Right? Let them learn how to make mistakes early on so they can learn the lessons. But my point was for this video is, don't come out of your isolation season too soon. Don't prematurely come out of your isolation season. Right? Because if you do, you're going to miss the lessons. Because sometimes it's kind of like winning the lottery, right? It's kind of like winning the lottery for some people. Let me just say that. Because if I win, I know I'm going to do what's right. No, it's kind of like winning the lottery. If you haven't worked for it, or if you don't know how to be a good steward over something, it's not going to last. Right? It's not going to last. So that's why it's good to work for certain things. Yes, it is a blessing. I know for me, because I'm a thankful person, I'm grateful. It is a blessing for people to give you things. But when you haven't worked for it, you don't appreciate it as much. If you haven't put in any sweat equity, right? If you haven't put in any sweat equity, you haven't lost sleep, and you haven't sacrificed getting up early. If you haven't put in any sweat equity, you're not going to appreciate that thing. That's why you can give someone something, you can give your child something, or anyone. And if they haven't had to work for it, they're not going to appreciate it. It's when you work for things that you appreciate it more. So winning the lottery, they didn't have to do anything but play. I know I would do the right thing with it. Okay. Let me just speak for myself. Let me speak for me now. But overall, right, you got them special people that will just know how to do good with the lottery ticket, because guess what? They they have already been a good steward with their money. So it's no different. Now they just have more money, to steward, right? So those people are exception to the rule. But the overall, when you haven't worked for anything, when you haven't worked for it, you're not going to appreciate it. You're not going to value it. Right? But don't come out of your isolation season prematurely, because you still have to grow and develop and learn the lessons that you need to learn in your isolation period. And I tried to come out of my isolation season. I've been in isolation for 3 years. Y'all want to know the truth? 3 years. A little over 3 years I've been isolated, away from certain family, just cold turkey, ghosted, don't want to deal with anyone, because the work I needed to do was on myself. The work I needed to do was on myself. I had a lot of work to do, because I had a lot of things that I dealt with over the years that I really did not address. You just skate over stuff, and you just deal with things surface level and not on a deep level. And I had to go and deal with those things. And I'm glad I did. It was the best thing I could have done. Although it hurt for me to distance myself from certain people, and I had to, and I had a reason to, but I gained more strength within myself. I became a better person. I developed healthier boundaries, right? I learned to allow people who bring a sense of peace and joy and mutual understanding in my life. Because before, I was an open door. I was an open door to my life. I used to just tell everything. I wasn't a person that talked too much. I was just very honest and open, and that was not a good thing. That's not good for a person to be so open and honest, because everybody's not like that, and people will use information that you share against you. Although me, I'm just not a shameful person. Whatever happened in my life prior to growth, it is what it is. So I'm not going to be ashamed of that. But also, I'm not going to just go and spill all of my life history onto people. I had to learn that's not good. Monique, that's not good. You have to be wise. You have to be wise. And I had to learn wisdom, because I'm very honest and I don't mind sharing things and parts of myself with people. But I've learned, oh, that's so beautiful, the lights. I've learned that that's not a good thing. I have to operate in wisdom. I have to not give the enemy, right? I learned to not give the enemy ammunition, right? Because sometimes you be around people, they're monitoring spirits, and you're telling them all your information. Now, these people be close to you, right? Learn, if you want to know who a monitoring spirit is, pay attention to who's around you. And then when they start asking you like some things that that are personal, and you've always shared things with these type of people, start saying, no, I don't want to share that. Start telling them no, and you will find out who a monitoring spirit is. You will find out the different, to be honest, the different spirits you're dealing with when you start telling people no. Because sometimes people just don't have a interesting enough life, and your life brings them interest, all of your chaos and your whereabouts and things that you do and things that you're involved in, that brings them some type of entertainment. And people don't have that. They're not doing a lot of great things in their lives. So when you bring them your drama, your trauma, your excitement, or what you have going on, that's entertainment for them. That is entertainment for them. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful who you tell and share things with. Because I was notorious. I just felt like everybody was honest and open like me. I used to just be telling people everything. Look, if someone wanted to, find out where I was, only thing they had to do was be in my circle. Because I used to tell, and it wasn't like intentional, like I can't wait to tell this person. It was just, I was just so honest and just open, It wasn't like, I'm gonna get up, I can't wait to tell this person. No, it was just in conversation, just telling, I'm just gonna go here today, and I'm gonna do this, and I got this going on, I got that going on, that type of thing. It wasn't like, let me just tell the world what I got going on. That's why I deleted a lot of my social media accounts. I had a thriving TikTok, and God was like, delete it. I had a Facebook, I had to delete that. Because sometimes you get too involved, and you go to sharing things with people who otherwise would have access to you. One thing I've learned, to starve an enemy, you have to deny them access. To starve those monitoring spirits in your family, because they don't like you anyways, right? You got these monitoring spirits. They just want to keep tabs on you, right? And so they're friends with you on Facebook, but when you see them in person, they acting all weird and strange, but they want to be connected to you on Facebook and social media. No, no more access. Access denied, right? Let's learn to do that. And then two, a lot of you all are dealing with mental health issues because your energy is spread too thin across social media, across fake family and friends, across toxic coworkers, just across people. You have to learn how to, and I learned this in my isolation period. This all ties together. You have to learn to take your energy back and power back. Once you learn how to take your energy and power back, you will be so much peaceful, so happy. Like your energy will radiate. My energy level so high, I shock myself, and I know people can't really handle that, but it's because I did a cleanse. It because I stopped talking to people and wasting my energy on people who I know don't like me, right? Who I know are just fake and phony and just in my energy field and really don't like me. For whatever reason, I didn't do anything to them, but people just fake like that, right? People just phony, and their energy is people are just fake. So once I learned how to take back my energy and my power, my life became more peaceful. My life became so much more peaceful. Mm-hmm. Yep, my life became so much more peaceful. I'm in the dark. I don't want to seem spooky, but it's dark. Just made it to my destination. But a lot of people don't understand that. That's what I learned in my isolation. Oh, they mess up the soul. That's what they do. Yeah, I found that we're energetic fields, right? We're energetic, like we're energy sources, right? If you want to get spiritually deep, we can go there, but I won't go there today. But I will mention that we are energy beings. Our soul will go and rest somewhere, right? And then some people say your soul don't rest. You reincarnate. But we're energy. And when you are around certain people, they drain you. You know that. You know that. When you're around certain people, they drain you. And some of you all, these are the holidays, or what they call holidays for the ones who don't celebrate. Look, who are not into tradition. But and some of you all are about to go around family that you don't like. You're going to leave that place more drained than you went. You know why? Because you're going to be around people who you don't like and who really don't like you. Right? So you're around people who really don't like you, and you can feel that. Right? You can feel that energy. And your energy is just sitting there talking. They're not saying anything, but your energy hears them and it feels how they really feel about you. See, I thought I was cuckoo at one time in my life. I'm not gonna lie, because I used to be able to feel people's energy, and I used to be right, but I didn't know who I was, so I used to shut it down every time. I'll knock it down. No, they can't be like that, because people come smiling in my face, right? Pretending, have all this fake energy, right? Smiling, but their soul and their spirit is telling me another thing. Yeah. And I had to learn to trust that. Although I did trust it somewhat, but I didn't trust it with certain people. I didn't trust it with certain family members, because in my head, family had overrode that energy that I was feeling. Because they were blood, it made me doubt myself. I'm like, I don't think they'll hurt me like that. You know, you like, I don't think they'll do me like that. Oh, yes, they will do you like that. I don't think they talk about me like that. I don't think they'll do that. My sister wouldn't do that to me. My cousin would do that to me. My child wouldn't do that to me. Them be the main ones to do that to you. Exactly. I've learned that. You can't tell me nothing now. Over the past couple, that's why I tell you all, don't come out of your wilderness season. In my wilderness season, I learned to trust that. In my wilderness season, God showed me my spiritual gifts. He showed me my ability. Because we all got spiritual gifts. Some are, everyone's gift is different. But I've always had the ability to hear spiritually and to discern. My gut always be this 99%. It be true, but I used to deny it. I used to reject it because, it's a conflict in your head when you are a person who is very open, who is very loving, whose heart is just big and you're truthful and honest. It's a conflict when you have people around you who pretend to be loving, pretend to be caring, right? And then in their heart, they feel that their heart is wicked and cold towards you. And you can't see that. But your spirit told you. Your spirit told you. But you're in that conflict because you're like, I don't think my mama would try to. Some of y'all sitting there, it's like, I don't think my mama hate me. I don't think my mama jealous of me. This my mama. Right? How we say from the South, we call her mama. We don't call her mother or mom. My mama. Okay? Mama. M-U-M. Okay? Not my mommy. I can't believe my mama don't like me. My mama hate me. Like y'all having conflicts in your head. You can't believe your sister. Okay? You sitting there like, this my sister. We used to wear each other underwear. We used to wear each other bras and clothes. My sister jealous of me? Oh, yeah. Some of y'all can't believe my child hate me. Some of y'all, I did an old video. It's going viral again on my page. Talks about allowing your adult children to, and I see that video is getting more traction now because a lot of people are dealing with things with their children, their adult children. And some of y'all, and I'm going to say this because somebody need to hear it. Some of y'all know y'all child will unalive y'all the moment they get an opportunity because of the hate that they have for you. But people don't want to believe that because that's your baby. You carried them. You have an attachment to them that no mother could unattach themselves from. But your spirit telling you, right? Your spirit is telling you that child will unalive you. Let me share a story with y'all. I had a cousin who son took him out. He was military. And the last time I spoke to him, we were talking. I think that was after, I want to say, was that after my grandfather's funeral or my aunt's funeral? This is on my dad's side. I want to say it was after my grandfather's funeral. Yep, after my grandfather's funeral. And he told me, I'll never forget, he told me he was afraid of his son. Nice guy, military guy. He was a twin. He has a sister who was a twin. And he told me that he's afraid of his son. And he wanted to put his son out. His son was an adult. And he wanted to put his child out, but his mom kept allowing him in, right? The mother kept allowing the child in. Don't you know this boy unalived his dad? Unalived his dad. I found that out, and I was like, he was just telling. It was like a year. It was like 9 months later. It wasn't even a year, where I found out that, and this is like a distant cousin, but still close enough, it's still a cousin, because we don't say distant and, certain communities. But unalive them. And he knew it. In his discernment, he knew. Yes, Josie, I get dreams too. I'm a dreamer. Like, whenever an enemy is present, or whenever someone around me that doesn't have good intentions, I usually have a dream about them. Whenever someone is hiding, trying to be deceitful. And what I've learned that spiritual intel is for you. That spiritual intel is for you to move around. Know how to deal with people. Know how to remove yourself. Know how to pull your energy back. To know how to deal with them, as they say, with the long handled spoon. It's not for you to say, oh, I saw you in a dream, and I know you're an enemy. You're a snake, It's not for you to say that. You got to be wise. Because you don't want to know you don't want to let the enemy know you see them. You want to see just what they're going to do. Because when God give me dreams, he give me also a solution to be 10 steps ahead. And more so since I've been in isolation, I've gained more, I won't say power. He's given me an increase in my discernment. And I be on point every time. It's kind of scary, I be on point every time. And then it also prepares me to not get my heart broken. Because when the God show you an enemy and they do the enemy thing, they cross you, right? You won't be heartbroken because you saw it ahead of time. Before, I used to be so heartbroken because I used to see it and then believe it. Then when the snake bite me, I'm like, oh, I'm calling, man down. When the snake bite me, it's like, man down, I'm down, Now, oh no. When I see them snakes, I believe it. When I see the enemy, of course, you got to learn how to pray. You got to pray. Right? But when I see the enemy now, I see it for what it is. I believe what I see. When I feel that jealousy and that energy shift, I was just telling my best friend, we went out to eat the other day. And I told her, I said, I can always feel when people energy shift. I was listening to Reno. I follow this young guy, Reno Speak Riches, or Reno Speak Life, I want to say, but I follow him on Instagram. On YouTube. And he had a video, and he was talking about chosen ones, and he was talking about how you can always feel when somebody energy shifts. And I thought it was just me. So I know it's a lot of people out there because I believe everybody is chosen, right? I was thinking about that today. I believe we all are chosen. But there are a few of us that are set apart, right? Or they would say many are called, but few are chosen. But that's the set apart ones. I do believe that there are set apart ones, right? But he had a video, and he wasn't lying, because I can always feel, and he was talking about people like you. And I talked about this too on my other video. People like you until they get close up on you and they see that light on you. It always happened to me. And I'm not sitting here trying to be a victim, right? But the good friends that I have just know I'm silly. I'm just me. But they also are learning that I do have some spiritual gifts, right? I have spiritual gifts, right? But he said that he can always feel when that energy shifts. And I can too. And I thought I would just be cuckoo. I thought I was going cuckoo one time. I'm like, Lord, do I need to be Baker acting? It ain't funny, though. It's not funny. But it's like, am I tripping? Or is this person really moving funny? Right? Because I'm not the type of person. Like I said, they like to claim victim, because I got a lot to claim victim over. I can be a victim, right? I had all kind of stuff happen to me. You'll never know if I don't say anything, because when you're chosen, you make I was thinking about this morning. I was going to do a separate video, which I still may. You make warfare look sexy. When you're chosen, you make warfare look sexy. You make struggle, trauma, warfare, you make everything look so sexy and just copacetic. Okay, when people see you, they think you just had this perfect life. They think you got a perfect mama, a perfect daddy. They think you got a perfect marriage. They think you, because you don't wear your warfare, right? You still have a good spirit. You don't wear your negative bank account on your shoulder. You ain't taking that negative bank account out on everybody. You don't wear that attack on your body, that sickness. You don't wear that and project it on everybody. You still have good energy. People don't even think you're going through stuff, because that's just how you are. You don't like the trauma dump. You don't like the trauma dump. You make warfare look sexy. You make it look like it's the thing to be, you know? You got people out here saying, when I grow up, what I want to be? I want to be a chosen one. No, you don't. When I grow up, what do I want to be? I want to be a chosen. No, you don't. Because that warfare is constant. That betrayal is constant. People grouping up against you is constant. People lying on you is constant. You got that stuff you got to live with. If you can't handle the heat, don't come in the kitchen. You know, the old folks used to say, you ain't got to look for trouble. Trouble will come find you. When you are a chosen one, trouble finds you every time. People will put you in stuff and you ain't even thinking about what they got going on. People will come put your name in stuff. They'll make you a problem. You don't have no problem with anybody. You just living and trying to stay above the warfare without projecting it on other people. But people will come put you in stuff. And if you're not ready for that type of warfare, you don't want to be chosen. I thought something was wrong at one time. I'm like, why people always got to put me in stuff? I'm like, why always people got to lie on my name? Like, why people always got to assassinate my character? And I'm the coolest person you can get along with. I'm the nicest. I ain't nice no more. I'm the kindest person. You gonna laugh good. You gonna eat good. You gonna have a good time. Like, I'm not in no drama. Now, you know what it is? You gonna get the truth, though. I know some people can't handle it. You gonna get the truth. And I'm not going to dim my light. I shine bright, and I'm not going to dim that. I used to dim that when I see people didn't receive that well. But I'm not doing that anymore. Because that is a gift. My personality is a gift. How I can get along with everyone, you know, how I can make people feel seen, that's a gift. And I'm not going to stop being myself because you can't handle it. People can't handle that. But God told me that is a gift. Right? And I know it is, because people be yearning that type of, communication. People want that type of acknowledgement. I'm not out here just doing it just, hey, like that. No, I'm led by my spirit. When God tells me to say what I need to say to whomever, I do it. I'm obedient. I remember I was working on my job. I was working at a hospital years ago. And there was this guy, a Spanish guy. This one I knew I had a gift to. Spanish guy. He looked like the life had left up out of him. Nice guy. Always, smiling, and he'll always speak. I always speak, And I never forget, I ministered from my spirit to him. And I told him, I said, are you okay? I asked him, I said, are you okay? I said, you don't look like you're okay. I said, it look like you got a lot going on in your mind. Just being myself. But I saw him and he was like, I can't believe Like, it's almost like he was on his last leg, that he would have took himself out. And every time I used to see him after that, after he said more things to me, told me about his situation, which I wouldn't say here, but he told me about his situation that was going on. And this was, in the hospital, in a public place. And he told me about his situation. He was like, how did you know? How did you see me? As if like I'm psychic or something, He was like, how did you know? Like, cause sometimes people are so caught up in themselves, they're not paying attention to no one else. I noticed that. People are so caught up, they're not paying attention. People are in this world hurting. At least you can acknowledge them. At least you can smile. And I'm glad God gave me that gift. Because everybody I've ever ministered to, that God told me to minister to, which means to edify, right? To just share whatever he gives to me at that time. Everybody I've done that to, of course, they were in tears or in shock, but they left relieved. They left with hope. Okay? They left with more, with hope. Like they can go on another day. Right? Thank you, Shrimp, but this makeup, I wish my skin was. Look, this makeup, I got all kind of hair growing in my face. Hopefully somebody come up with something, and I'm not ashamed of it either. I hope somebody come up with something that rid this hair, Look, I come from the hair. I got come from a hairy face, It's time for me to get off here because I'm getting silly now. Come from the hair face bloodline. Somebody need to come up with something. If we could, if we can transform genders, we should be able to permanently remove this hair off women's face. Okay? I don't know why I said that. I guess somebody need to hear that. But that wasn't a thing to say. It is what it is. That wasn't a thing to say at all. But my point was, I see people. I'm always paying attention. I don't just be walking and seeing everyone, but when I go out, my intention is to my intention is to see people and acknowledge them, see who's hurting and pick up on spirits and see who's hurting. Right? You know what I'm saying? It should be just like that. And I'm not going to change that. I almost lost that at one point in my life because I was going through my own, I was going through my own transition in life. Like I was going through so much and I almost lost that part of me. And in isolation, right? And in my isolation, God increased my sense of discernment, but he also increased my sense of I can't tolerate certain things. How I used to tolerate certain things and people before, I shut that down so quick. It's almost scary. So I can't tolerate a lot of stuff, foolishness. Before I used to long suffer. Now I shut it down quickly. Quickly. It scares me because I wasn't like that before. I'm like, girl. Yep. So that's what I want to share with you all. I hope this message encouraged you all. Sometimes I can get on here and just ramble. But I have a journal that I created. I have a journal that I created that I'll be putting here that I'm selling on Amazon. And it's a low content journal, just a blank page journal, but the cover is designed, but it's for 2026. And I wanted to create a journal to where you have it, because I write all the time. I write my ideas. I write down my dreams. I got a lot that I write down. I write down I've been like that, and it never stopped. I got journals on top of journals. That's why I created my own. because it doesn't make sense to keep buying someone else's when I can create my own. As people always gift me with journals, I always give journals, but I like to create journals as well. But I created one, and it's for 2026. Get in the habit of writing down your thoughts and ideas, because you cannot depend on your memory to remember something that God gave you from 2005. I'm sure you all had thousands and thousands of ideas that you got in 2005 that you don't remember now in 2025, that could have produced some type of income or helped you become better in some way. But you can't depend on your memory to remember those ideas. There are plenty of things that I wrote down in my journals that were years ago that I'm finally fulfilling now. Dreams that I've documented when I was under spiritual heavy warfare attack. All the crazy dreams that I was having back to back for months. And I was in my isolation, and God was teaching me how to pray. And I went back to those journals earlier this year, and I realized I was under heavy spiritual warfare attack, because the dreams were just of animals and all kind of crazy stuff. If you're spiritual, you know, okay? But the dreams were all of animals and all kind of things. And at that time, I was able to pinpoint at the time what was going on. And I know what type of warfare, I know who it was, right? And that's when God was teaching me how to pray. I learned how to pray spiritually in my isolation. See, that's why isolation is good. So I learned how to pray, because, you know, we ain't wrestling with flesh and blood. We see that more now. When you're not wrestling with flesh and blood, these spirits out here wilding out. But God only shows you when you spend time with him. See, when you got too much social media, you're TikToking, that means your time running out. TikTok, time running out. You TikToking, you on Facebook, you on YouTube, you on Xing you out. You on all these different platforms, and you ain't got no time to connect spiritually with your creator. And you ain't even got to be going to church. So I don't want nobody to get it twisted to where they feel like they have to be in church. Even church, too noisy sometimes for you. I said it. Being in a church building is too noisy sometimes for you, because you really can't hear God for yourself, because you too busy listening to all the preachings and teachings that is really not of God. And half of them teachings, especially in the Western churches, they're not teaching you about spiritual warfare. Some of them don't believe in demons. They don't believe in demons and spirits and bad. Hold on, you all. Hold on one second. But yeah, so I had to, take a little break here and speak to somebody. But yeah, I was going through a lot. And these churches are so stale and dull. You going through warfare, and you trying to go ask your pastor about this, and they talk about you got a spirit on you when spirit's fighting you. You got to have your relationship with God. I'm glad I got to understand it, because see, the thing about me, I was going through this as a child. So I understand the spiritual world. I know it's real. I don't care what nobody say. They can think you're cuckoo or not. I understand it's real. Just because everybody don't experience it, don't mean that it's real, that it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Just because you haven't experienced it, that doesn't make it not real. Right? You not voting doesn't mean that they still gonna select the president. Just because you didn't vote, that don't mean that a president won't be selected. I ain't getting into politics here. I'm just trying to give you an analogy, right? But I'm happy. I thank God. I thank God for the knowledge. I thank God for the warfare. I thank God for the trauma. I thank God for all the things that I've experienced to equip me and make me stronger today. I tell people all the time, hey D, going through oppression, going through hardships, especially for my melanated people. I used to tell people, and this ain't a race thing or anything like that. I used to tell people all the time, just because you experience hardships, that's not a bad thing. Hardships develop character. It produces creativity. Why you think the melanated folks created everything? Just about. Hardship. It makes you creative. It makes you resilient. It makes you stronger. No, it doesn't feel good at the time. I'm not going to lie. It didn't feel good at the time. Going through all them, it didn't feel good at the time. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But my hope and my faith in God kept me going. It kept me going. Now I'm stronger. I'm not easy to bend. I'm not easy to break. Little things that people cry over, I be like, and I have to repent and ask God to forgive me, because I'm like, you crying over that? Look, I be like, looking at people sometimes like, you falling out over that? I'm like, girl, you don't know what trauma, you don't know what struggle is. You don't know what. And I have to repent. I have to say, Lord, forgive me. That's being judgmental. Everybody didn't have to struggle like me, and that's okay. That's their life, and it's okay. But you crying over that? There ain't nothing to cry over. You know? That's why I used to say, there's nothing to, but everybody is different. So it's good. Like the word said, it is good. Like Paul said, wasn't that Paul? It's good that, for me, that I have been afflicted. Because that affliction brings about resilience. It builds character. It brings about wisdom. I'm happy it is, Josie. I appreciate it. When I tell you, I thank God. I used to always have like this, like, wow, I always got to be going through. That's when you know you're chosen too. When you're chosen, you've been fighting from the womb. I remember when I was born, my mama told me I was so little, she was scared to bathe me. She said, girl, you were so little, I was scared to bathe you because I thought I was going to break you. You were so fragile, What I thought it was, I think it was that light that was on me. My mom was afraid of me when I was a baby. She said I was tiny, but she probably saw a light on me, Look, she probably saw a light on me like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what type of child I gave birth to, but Lord, I got to get somebody to take care of her. But ever since then, I've been going through stuff. And she used to stare at me. My mom, you all know my mom wasn't in the best situation. And I don't want to keep saying, the type of life she lived, but she wasn't in the best situation. But I remember, yeah, he still got me. I'm protected. I've had plenty of people tell me that God loves me. I know he do. I know God loves me. Because to keep me from, keep me from going cuckoo, I know he loved me. Because he gave me when you have a different perspective, when you can change your perspective and see the blessing and all of the pain that you endured, you're different. You're a special kind of person. When you can change your perspective and twist it in your mind to make it fit, because we all do that, okay? But I make it fit, and I use it. I use it to help others. I use it to write Okay, I got plenty of books in me. Oh, I got a lot of books, a lot of wisdom. And you know what God gave me the other night? He gave me the revelation. Because you know I'm a college graduate, right? First generation. And I'm just saying this to just to make a point, because that's not important. Wisdom is what's important. But you know, in college, they want you to cite your sources, right? When you're writing a paper, ML, Chicago style, ML, what is it? MLA, all them different styles they want you to write in college, which don't make sense, you know, when that's not going to help you fight life, you know? So, you know what God gave me the revelation? He said, when I give you these books to write, on your sources page, you're going to put life. I kid you not. Look, I won't lie to y'all. The Holy Spirit say, when you get to your sources page, you're going to put sources or references, life. Life is your reference. Experience is your reference. I'm like, wow. Look, I'm like, wow, Lord. I'm like, I got to do it like that. Sure did. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to write is more like spiritual. You know, some people are like, well, where did she get her, where's her reference? You know, people like, how does she, where did she get her sources from? Fact check, you know? Life is my fact check, okay? My experience. Because you know, in the academic world, they always want you to, they tell you to fact check, cite your sources and all this craziness. No, life. He told me life. Because I'm like, I can't be, especially the one book that I'm gonna have to write about is more spiritual, but it's just based on experience, my experience, right? Exactly. Reference God, source, reference God, source is life. For real. But it's more spiritual. You know, sometimes people want you to reference, right? But yeah, so I have to do just that, you know. But yep. So I hope this message encourages you all, and I hope you all have a safe holiday if you celebrate. If you don't, that's okay. But don't stress out about the holidays. You know, that's when you know this time of the year is not about God, right? You know it's not about God because more people are, look at one way. Because you know if people are stressed out and, you know, around this time, you know it's not about the Heavenly Father, right? I can remember when I was younger and I didn't understand like these different, you know, days that really are not holiday. You know, we've replaced all of the holidays, holy days with holidays, right? It's supposed to be holy days. And I don't know all of them, but we've really replaced those for what's going on now, right? So what I was going to say, don't be stressed out. Don't be burdened, you know, about gifts and doing things, you know, with your finances that you really can't do. Like if people are always expecting for you to do something around this time, and putting pressure on you, or you feel pressured, just don't do it. Don't do it. I've been, you know, I started pulling away, like from being in like the energy and the spirit of these different holidays about 3 years ago, because because exactly because I was just tired of the energy and being in this stressful spirit of the holidays. Because some people are like, oh yes, but like some of it is senseless. And there's nothing wrong with getting a gift for somebody. I'm not saying you can't. You choose to your discretion. But for me, for your discretion. But for me, it's just I didn't want to be in that energy because my energy is sacred now. I once I understand how powerful my energy is, I learned to preserve it. Right? I learned to preserve my energy. I don't just give it out freely for anything. I don't give it out like I used to. I have spiritual boundaries. I have personal boundaries, physical boundaries. And that has saved me. That has brought me back more joy than I can express. If you want joy, get you some boundaries. If you want peace, if you want your energy to increase, if you want to be happier, get some boundaries. That's another book I'm getting ready to write. But it's regarding boundaries. When you get boundaries, your life becomes so much richer. You become happier. People can't get on your skin. Little things won't bother you. You can see where the enemy is trying to bother you, and you can put them spiritual boundaries up and go on about your business. See, when I went into my isolation season, I was transformed. When I went in isolation and I came out, which I'm still kind of in, I'm semi-in, I know I'm a new person. I don't even recognize myself. I even look different. Y'all go look at some of my old videos. Go back and look at some of my old videos. I look different. My spirit is different. Because when I first started YouTube, I didn't want to start YouTube. I was on a different type of time. Look, I had a different type of energy. And I left those up so I can show growth. So you can see that I have grown. Right? I even look different. There's a different type of spirit on me. I'm coming in a new energy. A different type of energy. Right? So that's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to just give out my energy so freely. I released a lot of people from my energetic field. You got to release people. That's why forgiveness is required. That's why forgiveness is for you. Because when you hold on to that unforgiveness, you're holding on to all that negative energy. And you wonder why you depressed. You don't have to take antidepressants. That's a lie. As my grandma would say, that's a lie from the pit of hell. You don't have to take antidepressants. Most of you all who take antidepressants don't have to take them. No, I'm not a doctor. I don't have to have no credentials to tell you this, because that's spiritual. If you being depressed wasn't spiritual, why do you need the pills? The pills ain't doing everything for you. What the pills are not doing it. The pills are not 100%. That's just a little, that's just a temporary fix. A little slap on the hand. This stuff is spiritual. You're talking to someone who had to go through it. Who was mad at her mom. Who was mad at her dad. Who was mad at my abuser. Who was mad at family members for mistreating me, talking about me. Who was mad at just mad at people for just mistreating me. I was just being mistreated. No, I'm not a victim, but I was being mistreated because I didn't know how to put up boundaries. I had to learn. I was too nice. I'm not nice anymore, but I'm very kind. When you're nice, you're a people pleaser, right? When you're nice, you're afraid to clap back or push back on people. But I'm very kind, very respectful, very loving. But I'm just not nice anymore because I don't care about losing you because I have boundaries. I don't care about you not talking to me anymore because I have boundaries. I don't care about you not wanting to call me. I will block you before you get mad. But see, when you haven't dealt with yourself, those are the things that you deal with. And those are things I deal with. And I come share with you all, not because I want to gain some type of empathy. It's because I was called to YouTube. I don't want to be here. I tell people all the time, I do not want to be here. I don't want to be here. I was called to YouTube. Just like everybody, just like more other prophetic voices and people who on YouTube, like these followers and these, this amount of followers I have, I don't even care about that. Once I went viral, like overnight, I just like, that's nothing. God want me to share my voice. So that's why I'm here. Right? That's why I'm here. But once you learn how to have boundaries and you stop letting people do you any type of way, because see, when you got a good heart, you feel bad for cutting people off. I used to feel so bad. Stop talking to people, stop dealing with them, telling them no, because you grew up with that people pleasing performance spirit, because you always felt like you had to do stuff to receive some type of validation and confirmation. Now, as we say down here in the South, I don't care. You get mad at me, you could turn blue, you could fall on the floor, you can manifest. My answer's still gonna be no. And I'm still gonna speak up and tell you I don't like the way that feel. I don't like when you say that. I don't like when no. Respectfully. Before, I wouldn't dare speak up. But now, see, one thing about a chosen one, when they wake up, people are gonna wish they were asleep. Because we don't play around with folks. We don't care about losing people. We don't care about you unfriending us. We don't care about you unfamilying us. Okay? We don't care about you blocking us. We don't try to clear our name anymore. Like when people lie. Look, I had somebody lie on me. I'm like, girl, I don't even know you. Like people will just try to put you in stuff because they see that light on you. And they see you about your father's business. They see you serious about life and about your business. And people don't like that. And you have to understand that's part of it. That's part of being set apart. This shouldn't be nothing new to you. Because it's not new to me. But what's new to me is having an understanding why it's happening. Before, I didn't know why it was happening. Now I understand why it's happening. So it's like water on a duck's back. Like they say, that's just water on a duck's back. It just roll on off. I didn't understand for the life of me. I was always going around circles. Why this person don't like me? I'm trying to be nice to them. I'm trying to show them that I'm for them. I'm buying them a gift. I used to do that too. I used to buy gifts to try to please people, let people know I'm, for them. I'll be the first to let them go ahead of me, or, I go do extra. I used to go extra out of my way. I don't do that now. I just operate in excellence. Now, I still operate in excellence. Now, I used to dumb myself down, or I used to do mediocre work because I didn't want nobody else to feel like I was trying to outwork them. I did. I'm going to be honest. I'm confessing. This is my confession. This is my confession to y'all. I used to do mediocre work because people used to feel like you competing. I used to feel that energy like I'm trying to show them up or I'm trying to outwork them, which that's just me. I just work in the spirit of excellence. I used to dumb myself down. I used to be quiet when I should have been speaking up. I used to fall back behind the scenes because I don't want to be like in the light and, you know, letting my light shine too much. I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more. I don't try to. I don't try to be overly seen, but I don't dim myself down. I don't do that no more. All the stuff I used to like do to stop being me, I don't do that anymore. I stopped one time. All this talking I do right now, y'all see my voice, my vibrant, bubbly, self, which I'm like that at least 95% of the time, maybe 96, 97. I'm like that a lot. That's just my true nature. At one point, I tried not to be that. Right? I tried not to be myself because of how other people felt. I stopped being who I truly am, trying to please other people, being a people pleaser. I say, oh, no, ma'am, no more. Monique, no more. But see, you learn that. In my isolation, I learned that. I learned to stop caring. Right? I learned to stop caring. There's no point, Sonny. I'm sorry. I get long-winded like this. Sorry. But you have a good night. I learned to stop caring. I learned to, stop caring about disappointing people when I know I'm just saying no, because sometimes that will cause you to not speak up and set boundaries for yourself because you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But my peace is a priority, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep that. When you get a taste of true peace, it'll be hard for you to let anyone else come and destroy that. You will cut off anything. You would cut off, if your animal stresses you out, you'll take the animal to the pound. If you got a dog and that dog stressing you out, you'll give that dog up for adoption. Poor dog, I feel sorry for him. But whatever it is, when you get a taste of true peace, you will cut everything off. This is when you know you got a taste of true peace. You won't make no exceptions for nobody. No children, no mom, no dad. Look, that little bird up there flying in the cage and just boop, 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 tweet, 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 tweet. You been on knock that cage down. Look, the little bird, you got a little talking parrot or something. That parrot up there yapping and talking. You been on knock that cage. You been on knock. It is. Lazar is for real. Look, that bird up there pecking that cage and flying back and forth. Them fish, even if the fish, they can't even talk. If the fish water get too dirty too soon, you've been on threw that fish tank out, got rid of that fish tank. But that's what happens when you find true peace. When you find true peace, anything could get it. Your hair could be bothering you and causing you too much trouble. You'll go shave it off. You'll go bald. They were like, girl, Monique, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I just need a new haircut. Look, you be like, I just need a new haircut. Anything. When you find true peace, you be willing to give it all up. And that's for real. Right? That is real. And I pray that you all fulfill, like Gina said, you have to really find out what it is find out your purpose in life. That should be your goal, to find out why you're here on earth. That will help you to focus. It wasn't until I Released everyone that I felt was not bringing me joy in my life, who I felt wasn't being honest and open with me, and who I felt wasn't giving me the energy I was giving them, and who didn't care for me how I cared for them. Because sometimes you can care more for people than they care for you. You will stop, drop, and roll for people, and they won't even stop for you, let alone drop and roll. The love you have for people, like I said, they don't have that love for you. It's all surface. When you love, that thing is real. You will be there for people. You will stop. I know that's how I am. You will stop, drop, and roll. You will take time out of your day. You don't get time back. When you care for people and they need you, you are going to be there for them. But when you need people, they won't be there for you. So I learned, I got rid of everybody or stopped talking to anybody. I don't care if it was family. And I love them. But if they didn't, if I felt like once these people, like I did an assessment. God took me in my isolation period. I did an assessment of relationships. It's either you're going to go on the right or I'm going to let you go on the left. Right? It's either you go on the right or left. And if you're on the right, that means I got to keep you in my space. If you're on the left, if you bring more issues to me than good, I put you on the left. I just left you alone. No call, no show, ghosted. Ain't got time to explain, because half of the time these people are adults and they should know better. So I just didn't have the energy to explain what you did, how you doing it, when you doing it. Grown people know what they're doing. Grown people know how they're treating you. So I didn't have the energy, right? I didn't have the energy to try to explain all the stuff you don't did over the years. So it was easy for me to forgive and release them than to try to explain what they've done. So I've released them, right? And I've forgiven them, but they're just not in my energy field anymore. And what I've done, because sometimes people feel like they have to replace those people, and you don't have to replace them. You pray, ask God to send you kingdom connections, because one kingdom connection could be more fulfilling than 10 no good family members, than 10 no good friends, than 10 no good whomever. One kingdom relationship could mean more to you. Yes, you have a lot of people, but you also have a lot of problems. You also have a lot of negativity. You also have a lot of negative energy being siphoned from you. But one good kingdom friendship would balance all of that out. You won't even think about those people, because you got something that's kingdom, which means it's a mutual understanding. Someone that think about you and to pray for you, and vice versa. The connection is not draining. When you all meet up, when you meet up and then you leave that person, you don't feel drained. You feel edified. Even if you're talking about your issues, you still feel edified. I noticed that. When you got a kingdom friendship, you feel edified, even if you talking about different challenges you're having in life, right? Even if you're having different challenges and you're helping and you're talking to your kingdom friend about, yes, if you're talking about certain things, you feel so edified, and you what's the thing called? You encourage one another. But it's another word I'm looking for. A biblical term. Edify. You edify one another. And it feels good. Exhort, yes. Edify, exhort. You feel good. Like when you leave, you're not carrying that person's burdens, because you balance each other out. They didn't trauma dump on you. So you're walking away nervous and got anxiety because you don't picked up all. No, it don't go like that. It was mutual. They ministered and edified you and encouraged you. You did the same. You did the same. Yeah, sharpen each other, Gina. Exactly. That's a kingdom friendship. You don't feel drained. They're not gossiping, telling you about, girl, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about that. You feel edified. You feel edified. You feel good. You can't wait to the next gathering. You can't wait to meet up and talk to them again. I had some trauma dumpers leave there. My mind and energy all messed up. They don't dump. They felt good because, trauma dumpers, when they dump, they're offloading their stuff, right? They're offloading their stuff. But I had to talk to someone just then. But what I was getting ready to say, and I'm gonna go because I had you all a long time, okay? And I'm just giving you all this long time because I won't be back until after the holidays, okay? After Christmas, or I don't know if I'll be able to. Well, I ain't gonna say that because whenever I'm unctioned to go, I gotta go live. I tell y'all no and have to get on here because I have something to say. So, but anyways, I'm gonna get ready to go. But I was talking about trauma dumping, but don't let people trauma dump on you all. It's okay. Tell them if they want to trauma dump, tell them to send you a cash app because that's equivalent to being a therapist. Tell them this conversation is going to cost you, and have them cash up you first. And then if they want to talk, at least you're getting paid for it. At least you're getting paid because that trauma dumping they should be going to talk to a therapist or a pastor or a counselor or something, but have them pay you. I don't have all that. I don't have all that now because I have strong boundaries. I have strong boundaries. I remember my last friend, so-called friend, that I had to be honest and open with. It was back in 2021. I never forget the conversation I had with her. I told her, I said, every year you call me about the same thing. And it was a cycle. She would call me about the same thing every year. See, I didn't have people to dump my stuff off on. I had to deal with it. Me and the Lord. I took my stuff to prayer and I journaled, right? But I had this hard conversation and we haven't talked since. We talked briefly one time earlier, but I knew she would take offense to it and I didn't care. That's when I was cleansing myself and I was really reckoning with myself, right? I was really dealing with myself, and she had been my friend since childhood. I was growing and she wasn't growing. So, well, not with me. She was doing her own growing, but not with me in the direction I was going. She wasn't aligned with me. And that's okay. I still love her, whatever. But I had this long conversation. It was before the year came in. And I had lost my sister. When I lost my oldest sister, everything changed in my life, right? It was so much changed after I lost her. I had to see, sometimes your life can't change until things happen that makes you rethink life. Because my oldest sister passed away unexpectedly, right? And there was a whole lot of issues around the circumstances. So when she passed, that opened my eyes to my life. And I had to do a lot of dealing and reckoning with everything, right? And that was one of those things. I'm like, do I want to keep going through this in this friendship every year? The same thing. She's talking about the same thing. She's not dealing with her trauma. She had trauma from her childhood that she needed to deal with in therapy, but she made me her therapist. She made me her God and her therapist. And I no longer wanted to be her little g, little lowercase g, God. Because when you don't take your problems to God and you take them to people, you need to go to God and go talk to your therapist. So she would always come to me, right? She would always come to me, talk about her problems. And I'll never forget, I was so tired of hearing her problems. I told her, I said, listen, and I told her just like this, I remember. I said, you know, every year you talk to me about the same thing. This is something you need to deal with. I'm not your therapist. I'm not your therapist, nor am I God. I've made several suggestions to you to go and seek you some help. Because, you know, sometimes we can trauma bond with people. Right? Oh, yes. Sometimes we could trauma bond with people. That's friendships, relationships we have no business in. And we can feel like those are good relationships because we bonded over trauma. That's just like some of you all. When you was out in the world, you didn't have true friends. You only had friends because you gossiped with them. Gossiping friends. Y'all had the same thing in common. Y'all gossiped. I've been there. Same thing in common. Y'all clubbed together. Y'all were party friends. Same thing in common. Y'all were alcoholic friends. But as soon as you all broke that common bond, were you all friends? No. Because it wasn't built on a solid foundation. But anyways, I told her, you need to see somebody. You need to go get you some help. Because I will no longer entertain this conversation again. And that was the last time I heard from her. I know she took offense. But at that moment, I was freeing myself. My sister had passed away. And I needed to do a lot of work within myself. And my sister passed away young. She passed away when she was 45. I'm 45 at this moment. Yep, she passed when she was 45. And I'm like, that's young. So I had to do a lot of reckoning and dealing with myself. Do I want to stay in this relationship? Do I want to stay in this friendship? Like, am I not going to live my life? Right? Because it's stuff I want to do. It's things I want. It's books I want to write. It's things I want to do. It's people that I want to impact. Right? So I'm like, I had some thinking to do. And I told her, I'm like, listen, girl, you gonna have to, you on your own with this one. Because it was the same thing. It was like a cycle. And I've been in cycles. And the only way you could break a cycle is if, look, y'all, I'm looking at somebody, they're delivering food, but I would not order no Uber Eats. Okay? Because they don't have that cup ain't secure enough for me. The food ain't really secure enough. So anyways, I just had to say that because I saw somebody walking with food from Uber Eats, like getting food. But listen, I just had a lot to deal with, and I didn't want to reckon. I didn't want to I didn't want to bring in a new year with that same issue. I didn't want to bring in a new year with that same friendship. And see, that was hard for me because I didn't like losing people. I didn't like hurting people's feelings. I didn't like turning people down. I didn't like saying no. So that was my first, that was one of my first, I won't say tests, but first steps to being delivered from people. Because I didn't want to let that friendship go. But that friendship was hindering me. Because I don't have a victim's mentality. I don't like things controlling me. Anything I feel is controlling me, I'm going to go deal with it. I remember I used to be afraid of public speaking. I used to be afraid of public speaking because I grew up in the country, and some of we say a lot of, we put a lot of country slang to our words, right? Y'all probably hear it. People always ask me, "Where are you from?" You know, what country are you from? I'm from America. That's where I'm from. I'm a citizen of America. My grandparents were born here. My great grandparents were born here. My great great grandparents, as far as I can go back, they were born in these United States of America. People always think I'm from the island, some Caribbean island. I am not from the Caribbean, okay? Um, and I used to be ashamed of public speaking. Like, I didn't like the way I talk. You know, y'all can probably hear it now. But I was like, you know what? I got to overcome that. I talk the way I talk. I can't help because where I was raised and the you know, how I was, the city I was raised in, the family I was raised into, that's how we talk. And I have to be okay with that. But I took that and I went and joined Toastmasters International, where they help you develop your public speaking skills and help you with leadership qualities too. And I enjoyed it. You all should try it out. Toastmasters International. You meet a lot of unique people there. I wish I had time to still go, because it's a great place to network, and you meet a lot of good people, a lot of good connections. If you're trying to network, join Toastmasters. When I tell you, you network with you have a lot of professionals that are in Toastmasters. So you got some connections there. Okay, I still got some connects I keep in contact with, you know, because I'm very likable anyways. But I learned, and I went to Toastmasters. I joined for 3 years, 4 years, right? Look, I joined for, I went for 4 years. And I'm like, you know what? I have to overcome this. I don't like things to control me. So I do whatever I need to do to get past it. I don't like to be controlled by anything. That's why I don't do drugs. That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't smoke. I don't want to be, I already got other habits, right? I need to lay off sugar. That's a habit. That's a drug. But I don't like things controlling me, right? Controlled substances, they control you. I don't like that. No, no, that's something I never want to get involved in, because I don't like to be controlled, right? So I joined Toastmasters, and that was the best thing I could have done, because I didn't know that me being myself was a superpower. Me being myself, like if you talk a certain way and you don't like the way you talk, if you country or you sound, however, you from the island, you sound like you from straight out the hood, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. You being your unique self makes you stand out. You being yourself makes you stand out. That is what makes you unique. I remember I used to go to the city in Miami all the time from the country. I had family in Miami. And I used to go there and hang out with my cousins. And I never forget when I used to go to Miami, and I got to go. And I got to go. I'm going to say this. I got to go. I've been on here too long. And I remember I used to go to the city, and I was young too. And, you know, the city people talk different from the country people, and vice versa. You can always tell if the person is from there by the way they talk. And I remember I used to go to the city, and them kids used to laugh at me. I used to be the laughest, and I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool because I had all the attention. The kids were like circled around me, and they were like telling me to say all these different words, you know. I'll never forget. They were telling me to say all these different words, and when I say a certain word, they would laugh at me. I remember the girl like, tell us how to say say she hit me in my back, right? And I said, she hit me in my bike. Because, you know, from the country, instead of saying back, we used to say bike. Not a bicycle like your back. We used to say back was your bike. Okay? But that's just how we said it. And I never forget the kids. The kids used to laugh at me. And I thought it was cool. You know, I thought it was funny. But I didn't know they was laughing at me. But I didn't, you know, kids do what kids do. But I never forget. And they had me to say some other words I don't remember. But I remember that one. I remember that was one of the ones that stood out. But you talk how you talk. I talk how I talk, right? Yes, it's good to clean some of it up if you can. But you being your unique self will help you stand out. You being yourself will help you stand out. And I was afraid to come to YouTube for that same reason. And I heard the Lord say, girl, you making this all about you. He didn't say girl, but he said, nope, this is not about you. I just put that extra in. He was like, you making this about you. And that's when I came on. Because I'm like, I don't want to go on there. I don't want people to say I sound funny. I don't want people to say I talk funny. It was like this whole back and forth. It took me a year to be obedient. I got tired of getting whooped. Because you know God will whoop his children. Spiritually beat you down. Okay? I got tired of being whooped spiritually, so I got on YouTube. It took me a while because I was afraid. But anyways, y'all, I gotta go. I don't talk, and I said my point a long time ago. But you all have a safe, blessed week. I'll come back. Purchase my journal. I created a journal. I put the link in the description, and I got quite a few things coming out for the new year. I will keep you all posted. Thank you all for listening this long. Thank you all for listening this long. I didn't know I was going to be this long. I should have been in the house eating. Okay? So you all be blessed.